You know that strange feeling when you look around at other people's lives and suddenly realize you have no idea what you're supposed to be doing? Someone your age is buying a house. Someone else has moved back in with their parents. One friend is getting married, another is getting divorced. Someone's having their third child. Someone else is freezing their eggs. One person has quit their job to travel the world. Another is working 3 jobs and still feels like they're falling behind. And somehow, all of these lives are unfolding at the same time, in the same society, under the same loose set of expectations we call adulthood. It's not just that people are making different choices. People have always made different choices. It's that the old sense of order seems to have faded. The feeling that life had a rough sequence to it, even if you didn't follow it perfectly yourself, is becoming harder to find. There used to be this unwritten roadmap sitting quietly in the background. School, job, marriage, house, children, career progression, retirement. Obviously, not everyone followed that path. Plenty of people couldn't, and plenty of people didn't want to. Some felt excluded by it, others felt trapped by it. But it was still there as a shared reference point. Most people had a sense of what counted as early, late, successful, risky, respectable, irresponsible, or simply normal. But it feels like a lot of those reference points are much less clear now. So what happens when there's no longer a widely shared idea of what a normal life is supposed to look like? At first, this looks like a simple story about freedom. People have more choices than they used to, they can get married later, change careers, move across the country, stay single, start an online business, and decide for themselves what success looks like. And in a lot of ways, that's genuinely a good thing. There is a lot of mercy in not being forced into one narrow version of life. But the more you think about it, the more you'll realize there's another side to that. The old path came with a lot of expectations and pressure, but it also gave us a rough sense of where we were in life. It provided a kind of reference point. Once that path starts to disappear, it becomes harder to know where you stand, what stage you're in, or whether you're doing okay. And I wonder if that's part of why so many people seem a little lost these days, even when nothing is actually wrong. They're not necessarily failing, they just don't always know what they're measuring themselves against anymore. You can see it in work. A few decades ago, a job was often treated as a stable identity. You trained for something, entered a field, climbed gradually, and maybe stayed in the same profession for most of your life. Now, people are encouraged to be flexible, adaptable, entrepreneurial, resilient, multi-skilled, always learning, always pivoting. That sounds exciting until you realize it also means your life can start to feel permanently unfinished. It's like you're never just working, but you're building a personal brand, updating your skills, monitoring the job market, wondering if your industry is dying, wondering if AI is coming for your role, wondering if everyone else somehow found a better route through the maze. And the same thing has happened to relationships. There is no longer one obvious script. Some people marry young, some never marry. Some want children but can't afford them. Some can afford them but don't want them. Some are dating casually. Some are exhausted by dating apps. Some are in situationships. You know what I'm talking about, right? Some are returning to traditional roles. Others are rejecting them completely. And because there's no single social timeline anymore, everyone becomes a little bit harder to place. Are you late? Are you early? Are you free? Are you stuck? Are you choosing your life or avoiding one? Even the small things have become complicated. What does a normal weekend look like now? For one person, it's brunch, errands, gym, and a walk through a park. For another, it's working overtime. For another, it's filming content, meal prepping, doom scrolling, recovering from burnout, visiting parents, or trying to remember what hobbies felt like before everything became optimized. What does a normal friendship look like? Is it seeing each other every week? Sending memes once a month? Liking stories silently? Or having one intense voice note every 3 months and calling that intimacy? What does a normal home look like? A rented room? A flat share at 40? A multi-generational household? A couple living separately? A single person with a dog and a better social life than most married people? So, the old categories still exist, but they don't explain as much as they used to. Married doesn't automatically mean stable. Single doesn't automatically mean lonely. Employed doesn't automatically mean secure. Educated doesn't automatically mean upwardly mobile. Homeowner doesn't automatically mean rich. Renting doesn't automatically mean careless. Young doesn't automatically mean carefree. Middle-aged doesn't automatically mean settled. The confusing thing is, though, society still uses old milestones as emotional measuring sticks, even though the conditions that made those milestones predictable have changed. So people are being judged by a map that no longer matches the terrain. And that creates a very modern kind of anxiety. The anxiety of having too many possible lives and no shared way to rank them. Without a clear normal, comparison becomes endless. In the past, you mostly compared yourself to people around you, your neighbors, cousins, classmates, colleagues. Now you compare yourself to everyone. The person who bought a house at 27, the person who retired at 35, the person with the perfect minimalist apartment, the person with 4 children and glowing skin, the person traveling full-time, the person building a startup, the person who somehow has a sourdough starter, a pension plan, abs, emotional boundaries, and matching storage containers. And because all these lives are visible at once, they start to feel equally available, even when they're not. That's one of the great tricks of modern life, isn't it? The internet flattens context. It shows you outcomes without showing you the scaffolding: family money, timing, location, health, luck, debt, support, immigration status, inheritance, unpaid labor, invisible help. So instead of seeing different lives as the result of different conditions, we see them as personal choices. And if everything is a choice, then every life you don't have starts to feel like a verdict on the life you do. That is exhausting. But it still doesn't fully explain why normal feels so hard to locate. And we can't just blame social media. Social media amplifies the confusion, but it didn't create it. When you think about it, the deeper shift is that the institutions that used to organize life have become unreliable. Work no longer guarantees stability. Education no longer guarantees status. Marriage no longer guarantees security. A salary no longer guarantees a home. And even a home no longer guarantees permanence. Community no longer automatically comes from neighborhood, workplace, religion, or extended family. More of life has become self-directed, which also means more of life has become self-managed. And that's a huge psychological change. Us humans, we're not just individuals making rational choices from a menu. We're social creatures. We understand ourselves through shared rhythms. We need some sense that our life makes sense to other people. But because identity is partly built through recognition, you know who you are partly because other people understand the shape of your life. When those shared shapes disappear, sometimes it can seem like nobody can really see you. That's why modern adulthood often feels so strangely difficult to explain. You can be doing fine and still feel embarrassed by your life because it doesn't fit a clean story. You can be successful on paper and still feel unstable. You can be happy with your choices and still wonder if you've missed some invisible deadline. You can reject traditional expectations and still feel haunted by them. So, is the real question even why nobody knows what normal is? Because it seems like maybe we should be asking, why still expect normal to exist in the old way? For a long time, normal was something you inherited. It came from your family, your culture, your social class, your religion, the neighborhood you grew up in, the media, and the economic structure around you. It told you what a good life was supposed to look like, before you had much chance to ask whether you wanted it. Today, normal is increasingly something people have to assemble for themselves. They borrow a bit from tradition, a bit from online culture, a bit from financial reality, a bit from personal trauma, a bit from desire, a bit from fear, a bit from what their parents did, and a bit from whatever seems to be working for other people. So instead of one shared normal, we now have millions of personalized normals, micro-normals, tiny private operating systems. This couple sleeps in separate rooms and is happy. This family lives across 3 countries and somehow functions. This person has no career ladder, but a portfolio of income streams. This friend group is more emotionally reliable than some families. This parent is doing everything differently from how they were raised. This young person does not want to drink, party, marry, own, hustle, or perform adulthood in the approved costume. That can be beautiful. It can also be lonely, because shared norms did something useful, even when they were restrictive. They reduced uncertainty. They gave people a sense of timing. They created rituals. They made life events socially visible. People knew when to gather, what to celebrate, what to support, what to expect. When norms weaken, we do lose judgment, but we also lose recognition. If fewer people follow the same path, fewer people automatically understand what stage you're in, what kind of help you need, or what your choices mean. So the trade-off is sharper than it first appears. We've gained freedom from a single script, but we've lost the comfort of a shared one. We've gained the right to design our own lives, but we've also inherited the burden of constantly justifying them. We have more ways to be, but fewer ways to feel certain that we are doing okay. And maybe that's why nostalgia has become so powerful. Not because the past was better. For many people, it absolutely wasn't. But because the past looks, from a distance, more organized. Even if that order was unfair, even if it was built on silence, exclusion, and pressure, it can still appear comforting compared with the open-endedness of now. A world with fewer choices can look peaceful from the outside, especially to people drowning in options. But what we often miss is that old normality came at a cost. Many people had to shrink themselves to fit it. Many people performed lives they didn't choose. Many people were called abnormal simply because they wanted room to breathe. So is the answer to just go back? Is it enough to say, everyone should just do whatever makes them happy? That sounds freeing, but it's too simplified. People need more than permission. They need belonging. They need rituals. They need language for lives that don't follow the old sequence. They need ways to be understood without having to explain every detail from scratch. Maybe the next version of normal won't be one big path. Maybe it will be something softer and more honest. Not a single timeline, but a shared acceptance that lives now unfold in different orders. That adulthood is not one staircase. That stability can look different. That commitment can look different. That ambition can look different. That family can look different. That being behind often means comparing your real life to a timeline built for another economy, another culture, another person. And maybe the most important skill now is not figuring out whether your life looks normal from the outside. Maybe it's learning how to build a life that feels coherent from the inside. Because when nobody knows what normal is anymore, the danger is letting the loudest examples become your compass. Letting strangers' milestones become your calendar. Letting a collapsing old script and a chaotic new marketplace of identities fight over your sense of self. There may never again be one clear answer to what a normal life is supposed to look like. Maybe that answer belonged to a world that was more stable, more limited, and much less honest about how many people didn't fit inside it. So perhaps the real question is not, what is normal now? Perhaps the real question is, when the old map fades, who do we become brave enough to be without it?